Hello and welcome to another edition of Cooking with John. I'm John, your host of this cooking show, and today we're going to be making my famous stuffed mushrooms, which are actually really easy to make, so this won't be a hard recipe for you to do at all. One of the most important ingredients of this whole recipe is the mushroom. I have portabella stuffing mushrooms. They're portabella mushrooms that are just a little bit smaller in size. I would say they're about the size of a silver dollar. A lot of you probably don't know what that is if you're a younger generation. But I have 18 of these today. It is actually Easter, and we're making these as a little hors d'oeuvre, if you will, appetizer before we have the ham. We're doing deviled eggs and also the mushrooms. So I thought I'd just make a video about it because I know everyone's been asking me, how do you make these stuffed mushrooms? They look delicious, and let me tell you what, they are delicious. We've got the mushrooms, we've got spinach, we've got a tube of garlic paste, and this is fresh garlic that's been minced for you ahead of time. You can buy it at your grocery store. We have cream cheese, because today we're making cream cheese, spinach, stuffed mushrooms covered in mozzarella cheese. We've got a bag of mozzarella cheese. We've got a couple different spices here. We'll be using a little bit of oregano, a little bit of Mediterranean basil, a little bit of cayenne pepper to add just a little kick to the mushrooms, salt and pepper, and breadcrumbs. I've also got a bowl to mix all of my ingredients into. And one thing I like to do with these stuffed mushrooms is kind of mix up all the ingredients, get the cream cheese, the spinach, all the spices and seasonings together, put them in a bowl, and let them sit in the fridge for an hour or two. That'll really let those ingredients bond together. They'll mix. It'll kind of marinate in itself, and it'll be really tasty. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have my spinach. It's in a strainer. I'm going to go ahead and rinse it off. And this is 6 ounces of spinach. I probably won't use the whole thing. I think I'll probably do about half. So we'll go 3 ounces of spinach. We'll lay it out on our cutting board, and we'll just start to chop it up. It'll take a few minutes to get this all chopped up into nice little pieces. But the spinach is one of the main ingredients besides the cream cheese that's going to go into the mushrooms. I think it tastes really good when you add it to a mushroom with cream cheese. And when you're chopping ingredients, I have a chef knife here. I don't know if that's the proper chopping knife, but it's the biggest knife that I have. And you want to put one hand down on the point of the knife and then kind of make a rocking motion across the spinach. Usually when you're chopping anything up like this, that's how you want to do it. It's an easy and safe way to make sure that you're really chopping stuff up. And don't play with knives, kids. They're sharp. You can hurt yourself. Always get your parents' permission before making any of these recipes. And chopping up this spinach will take just a few minutes. Spinach isn't very hard to chop, and you want to just get it into fine, small, tiny little pieces. As you can see here, you've got some bigger pieces, some smaller pieces, but the smaller the better. All right, and when we're done chopping our spinach, we can go ahead and pick it up, put it in our bowl, and that'll be enough spinach for 18 mushrooms. Next thing, we're going to take just a little bit of oregano, I would say a pinch. We're going to add that to the spinach. A little bit of Mediterranean basil, again just a pinch, less than a teaspoon. And depending on whether or not you like spicy stuff, you could use just a little bit of ground cayenne red pepper. I had just a tiny little bit left in this container, so I'm going to go ahead and use it all. Again, I would say just a dash. We're going to do 2 teaspoons of breadcrumbs, and that is just going to add a little bit of texture to the spinach and the cream cheese, and it's going to make it taste really good. The next thing we're going to do is take a little bit of our garlic paste. We're going to do a teaspoon of garlic paste, and we're just going to go ahead and add that in there. We'll taste it later. If we need to add more, we will. This is my first time ever using the paste, so I'm not exactly sure how much garlic that really is. And we've got 8 ounces of cream cheese here, just regular old cream cheese. And we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna start with 1 package, we're gonna mix it up, and we're gonna see how that turns out. And the best way to mix this stuff up is with your hands. You just kind of get in there and you start squishing it all together, mix it up really well. And like I said, that's just the best way to get it in there. And you really want to get the cream cheese separated out and all the ingredients into the cream cheese. And that is gonna, let me tell you what, it smells good. Simon, Gizmo, Aphrodite, all of you, good fighting. Cats like to fight with each other. And one of the nice things about this too is, you know, there's nothing in here that's raw, so you can test it and taste it after you get it all mixed together. See how it's going to come out. I think I'm going to have to add a little bit more cream cheese to this, simply because I'm doing 18 mushrooms today. When you mix it with your hands like this, it kind of gets all over the place. You want to get as much of that stuff off your hands as possible back into the bowl. Of course, you want to wash your hands before you do this. You know, just nice, clean, germ-free hands. That's pretty good. I'm going to add another teaspoon of garlic. I think you can't really taste the garlic, and you really want to taste that garlic in there because it's really, really, really good. I also forgot to add my salt and pepper, so we'll do that now. We'll do just a little bit of black pepper, kind of cover all of the cream cheese in there, and then just a little bit of salt, not much. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add my next package of cream cheese. I'm actually only going to do half of this. So we'll be doing 12 ounces of cream cheese in total. And we'll just go ahead and cut that bad boy right in half. Throw that in there. Mix it up. And this recipe is completely up to you. You can do whatever you want. Sometimes I do cream cheese and feta. Sometimes I do feta and Parmesan. I always use spinach. It's a great base for the mushroom itself. Mushroom and spinach is a really good combination, so it's up to you. Just kind of play with it, you know, and come up with your own recipe. If there's something, you could even do crab. That sounds really good. You could do sausage. That sounds really good. So it could be vegetarian, it could be vegan, it could be meat lovers. You can really do whatever you want with this recipe, and that's what I like about it so much. It's so versatile. It's so easy to do, and I really, really love stuffed mushrooms. That is delicious. And your final product will kind of end up looking like this. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna let this sit in the fridge for, like I said, about an hour, 2 hours. All those ingredients will really just fuse together, and then we'll go ahead and we'll stuff the mushrooms with this later. So this has been sitting in the refrigerator for about 2 hours, and it's still delicious. Now we're gonna go ahead, stuff the mushrooms, add the cheese, throw them in the oven at 350 degrees for 20 to 30 minutes, kind of depending on how fast they cook. A little bit faster because we refrigerated the stuffing, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. So the first thing we have to do when stuffing the mushrooms is open them up. We're going to rinse them out, but the mushrooms will come with the stem still in them, and you want to go ahead and remove the stem, and it's really easy. All you do is you pull it out like that, but we're going to have to do that to all the mushrooms. I like to pull the stems out before I rinse them because you can kind of rinse out the inside just a little bit better. And like I said, it's really, really, really simple to de-stem the mushrooms. If you do have a little bit of trouble de-stemming them, you can grab the stem and kind of twist it and pull it out like that. It's a little bit easier to do. Really, really simple. I just de-stemmed 6 of the 18 mushrooms just like that. So I'm going to do the other 12. I'm going to rinse them, and then I'm going to start stuffing. So I have rinsed off the mushrooms. I like to let them sit upside down for maybe 5 minutes after I rinse them on your cutting board near the sink. That way all the water will just kind of drain out of there. But we're going to stuff the mushrooms. We're going to throw them on a pan. One thing I like to do is take a little bit of olive oil, put it on the pan, just kind of grease it up. That way the mushrooms won't stick to the pan when you're cooking them in the oven. And it adds just a little bit of flavor to the mushroom as well. Okay, so we've got our mushrooms, we've got our stuffing, and we're just going to take a spoon. We're going to stuff the mushrooms like so. Just make sure you get all that cream cheese right in the middle of the mushroom. Push it down so it all gets up in there just like that. So simple. Such an easy, delicious recipe. And depending on the size of the mushroom is going to kind of depend on the amount of stuffing that you put in there. I'll be doing this video again because there's 2 ways that I like to actually do these mushrooms. You can do them either in the oven like we're doing today, or you can do them on the grill. And when you do them on the grill, they come out with just a little bit of smoky flavor. You get that charcoal grilled goodness in them. Really, really easy to stuff, really easy to do. And the next time I do them, I'll do a completely different recipe, either crab stuffed mushrooms or sausage stuffed mushrooms, depending on what I'm feeling like when I'm at the store. And again, you know, the smaller mushrooms, you use a little bit less stuffing, and the larger mushrooms, use just a little bit more. And it's so easy to stuff all these, just like that. And this is our last mushroom that we'll be stuffing today. And we have a whole pan of stuffed portabella mushrooms. Now we're going to cover them with mozzarella cheese and we'll put them in the oven for, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes. It really depends on how fast they cook. We want the cheese on top to get kind of like a nice golden brown look to it. And now we take our mozzarella cheese and we simply just sprinkle it right over the tops of the mushrooms, just like so. And I have a 1 8-ounce bag, that's half a pound of cheese. I think that'll be more than enough, depending on how much cheese you like. You can either add more or less, and it's just a great, great way to top off the mushrooms. And that concludes the preparation of the mushrooms. Now they go in the oven for, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes at 350 degrees. Our oven, it is preheated to 350 degrees. We'll pop those in. I like to start them at 20 minutes and then I'll check them. Set my timer up there and I'll leave them in if need be. And you always want to check on your stuffed mushrooms. It's pretty warm in there. The cheese on the pan is actually sizzling and melting really fast, but they're looking good. And woo, that's warm. They are done. They're coming out. And there is the final product. So now I'm gonna let them sit for 5 minutes just to cool down, and we'll try them out to see how they are. So the moment of truth. Time to try these bad boys. They're still pretty warm, but that is really good. Good combination of ingredients. Next up, Nikki's gonna try one.
Moment of truth.
Yep, they're kind of warm.
Yeah, they're warm. Blech! No, they're delicious. You're so good. That's not the first time I've done that to you and you got like so scared. They are delicious. Delicious, as always.
Absolutely delicious. I think that's going to be my catchphrase for my cooking channel.
One for Iris.
Nate's going to try one out. Tell you they're hot.
Too hot?
Don't drop them on the baby.
Don't drop on Iris, please.
Hot but good, huh?
That pretty much sums it up.
Yep.
They're really good. Just, yeah, they burnt the roof of my mouth really hard.
Well, there you go, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Cooking with John. John's famous cream cheese, spinach, stuffed mushrooms topped with mozzarella cheese. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, favorite this video, and enjoy the mushrooms. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week with more cooking from me, John.